time has come to face this.
We haven't cleaned this for a while. This is the cockpit floor, and food and mess falls through the grating. Good job, Hugh. Whilst the boys cleaned, Tilly and I went for a run. The run-splores are back. Last year in France, we did a lot of run-sploring, which is basically going for a run and enjoying the local area.
Hello! So, Kelly, my wife, you may not know this, is an amazing cook, and she comes up with really creative, tasty, yummy recipes. I would say she's not a trendsetter, she's ahead of trend quite often. And then, you know, a few years later, people are talking about the sort of food that she used to eat. Anyway, right now, we thought we'd add like a segment and you guys can occasionally see some of the food we like to eat and what we enjoy. And after me shouting about how good Kelly is, we're going to start with me. This is my current quick, easy, go-to meal. I love this, it's delicious. So let's go. Our new favourite type of wraps. The core of the meal, fried halloumi. We'll get there in a second. Some proper nice mushrooms. These are shiitake, but we've got some left over here as well. These are like the wild forest ones. They are amazing. There's like selection. Love those. Bit of red pepper, bit of spinach, and then hold it all together with some form of chutney or chili jam. And then you can be fancy like Kelly and get the fancy mayonnaise. But to be honest, this is my favourite mayonnaise.
Slice the halloumi, rip up the mushrooms, slice the red pepper, soften the mushrooms in a heated oil pan, add the halloumi, a touch of Cajun spice, stir and leave to cook for a few minutes. Add mayo and chili jam to the wrap. Flip the halloumi, add your spinach, throw the pepper into the pan last minute to soften, add it all to the wraps, fold and enjoy. We then moved the boat to an anchorage upriver and hopped in the dinghy to do a bit of national trusting. The harbour master told us that we could tie up here. It cost us £5, but it was way cheaper than the water taxi. Greenway National Trust, the holiday home of Agatha Christie.
Yes, Mum, we're on the path.
A really sad statistic. The boathouse. And there's Esperance.
There's a cannon pointing right at Esperance.
Darcy, like it. Nice. Can you get off, Darcy?
Wow. We had a picnic lunch before going and exploring the house. This is the place where Agatha Christie used to write. What an impressive body of work. But, like everyone else, she still needed to poo somewhere. We also found out that she was an archaeologist. She liked clothes, and her and her husband had separate beds.
This looks very comfortable. It looks so comfortable that I sort of want to sit on it.
On the way back to the boat, we saw another boat had Starlink, and we went over to have a look at how they'd attached it.
Yeah,
That's
it's been on there since Easter last year.
Easter last year.
This guy had used a fishing rod holder. The next day, it was time to leave Dartmouth. On the way out, we passed this handy rubbish barge. My friend Katie was asking if we could explain how we do mundane things too. So Katie, yes, we do keep recycling separate, but this is the first time we found a rubbish barge. Recycling day. Plastic.
Exciting.
There was also water here too. And we even got to see how the rubbish barge got emptied. We thought we were leaving Dartmouth today, but on second thoughts, we turned around. If you don't like blood, look away now.
Been a successful couple of hours. We spent about 20 quid on diesel and made a mess of the deck. Look at that, Mum. I need to take my rings off, right?
Oh my God, right. Come on, I'll sort you out. Let's patch you up.
It's alright, it's only skin. All I've done is ripped off a little bit of my skin. Look at that. Went a bit lightheaded after I calmed down from all the excitement, so I just had to lie down and Kelly's wrapped my finger up.
Yeah,
which is good.
I had some finger dressings. I was like pretty pleased about that.
And I take these off sometimes when we're sailing and then forget and put them back on again. I think we're just going to accept that we'll not be married for the next few months.
I don't have my wedding rings on for that very reason.
I'm just going to leave. Well, the problem is I forget and then we go sailing, so I just need to leave them off.
If you'd have known me before, I would have properly freaked out and wouldn't have been able to deal with that. But I dealt with it and I was quite pleased. Got a nice finger dressing. It's all like strapped up nicely now. But what it has highlighted is I don't know where anything is. I'm going to have to sort through the medical stuff, do an inventory and put a list on each of the lids of the boxes so that if anything happens, I can just go straight to it.
So that was an interesting morning. The prediction said 3s gusting 5s, a little bit cloudy. And what turned out to be the case was we're now getting 6s over the boat and it is misty. Visibility, when we went out and tried to go out a few minutes ago, was down to a couple hundred metres. So, and then not only that, Tilly started feeling a bit poorly on the boat, so Kel was taken inside to go and look after that, so I just made the call as we left the Dart River just to turn around and come back in, and we dropped an anchor and we sat here again. And then during that process I then cut my finger, bruised this finger. I'm not quite sure what happened, but I think even though the cover was on it, I think I somehow managed to step on the anchor winch up button whilst I had to handle the chain, and then my finger got pulled in towards the thing. So it actually was very, very lucky that it was only a cut. It could have been significantly worse, but I'm still not quite sure how it happened. Anyway, it's another thing to deal with, and that's just part of the risk we take, I suppose, sailing on a boat, but it's not massive. And I just, it's got to be careful, you know, take your time, don't rush. But I wasn't rushing, so it was just bad luck. Anyway, yeah, it's really overcast now. We just had definitely a 4-6 gust, so we're back in Dartmouth, but it's all good, and we're just going to end up, I think, having a bit of a chilled morning.
This is interesting, going through all the medical stuff, inventorying it. Inventorying, indexing it. Is that right? Anyway, I'm doing that and it's a bit of an eye-opener. I don't even have any plasters, and if you like, your arm is like severed off at the seam and you're gasping and gushing with blood. I've got some powder that like will soak up the blood instantly, but I don't have any little plasters for just general wear and tear. I did have a good dressing for Hugh's thumb though, but like everyday things like plasters, antiseptic wipes, don't have any. Need to sort that out. Adversity sometimes brings necessity, so Eric was trying to problem solve.
Dad is showing us how to use the anchor winch, and he said there's 2 buttons here, one for up, one for down, and I want to have another set of buttons here at the cockpit so we can control the anchor winch from here. But I also want the buttons over there to work. And I said, oh, that's quite a simple circuit, it's an OR gate. But yeah, so I've drawn up a simple circuit here. They're both the same, so this is just for one of them.
Yeah.
The power starts at the battery or the motor. It goes along here, then it splits in 2, and then it has it goes through 2 buttons. Now at the moment, if both buttons were off, then the anchor wouldn't move. Okay? But if you pressed one button, if you pressed, like, let's say this is the button up in the cockpit, if you press this button, then the power would be able to go from the battery through here, through this switch, and then to the anchor, and then back again. But if this button was pressed, it would be the same. So no matter what button you press, the only way it turns off is if they're both off.
Useful, because every once in a while I'm single-handing, so if I could drop or raise the anchor from here.
But you do need 2 of these because
so we're
one for each, one for up, one for down.
So we're going to need 4 cables running the length of the boat, aren't we?
Yeah.
So we need 80 metres worth of wire.
Nice idea though.
Whilst Eric was working that out, me and Darcy are designing a temporary mount for the Starlink. We need to get some stainless steel fabricated and mounted to the thing. We can just buy a fishing rod holder, you are right, but I want to get it away from the solar arch so we don't get any shading on the solar panels. But for the moment, me and Darcy are going to make one out of wood, aren't we, so that we can get it set up and mounted.
We are.
So we just drawn a design, and now we've just done some measuring, and Darcy had to do the calculations, didn't you? Yeah?
It is.
Well, the Starlink was 60 centimetres long, wasn't it? So we said half of 60 was
30.
30. So that's how
That's there.
so that's got to be, it means our arm's got to be 30 long, isn't it?
Yeah.
Plus a bit so it doesn't knock.
Hugh found a free pattern online, so we set our 3D printer to work. Meanwhile,
Got some war music on, bit of Tchaikovsky at 1812, and we're having a bit of imperial domination. Battle of wills, fortunes, risk it all on the throw of a dice. So slightly rough print to start with, but it came out okay. This is our 3D printed part. So we're going to get a tube of this size, made up in stainless steel. That's going to go into there, like that, on the solar arch. And then that goes quite nicely. You can see the cutouts on it. There we go.
perfect.
But rather than a toilet roll, it's going to be on the solar arch.
So we made the most of the extra day in Dartmouth and we went for a walk towards the castle. Hugh's mum collects glug jugs, so it was nice to see where they originated from. This place is beautiful, but ultimately the kids gravitated back to the water. It's always nice to find a blue plaque. And the obligatory ice cream, thanks to Bill and Lou and the Anderson clan who bought us these. You know the drill, you can buy us an ice cream if you follow this link up here. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. You could literally see the fog creeping in. Meanwhile, Hugh had been off on a mission.
Hello, been a cool adventure.
Yeah.
Made friends, lovely man. So there's a wicked cool, super cool boatyard around the corner. There's a creek. As you go up here, the first left is a creek. And the guys had on Facebook for a while advertised a load of these old CQR anchors. He just wants to get rid of them, and he's got a big stack of them. And he said a pound is what he's selling them for, which is virtually nothing. So this is a £60 anchor, 27 kilograms, and it cost me 60 English pounds. But it's lovely. So the guy owns the yard, big old boy with a beard, and he's got a chap working for him, and the guy just picked me up and took me around. I said we're on a dinghy in a boat, and I was going to take the dinghy around, and he said, I'll just come get you, it's easier. That's cool. But anyway, he gave me a tour of the yard. It's a bit like the places we love, like Hailing an Elephant boatyard. It's like old, ramshackle, and there's this beautiful big sailing barge in there as well. It looked massive. So yeah, it feels like it's big. I don't know if I think it's the same size as the one we got, or possibly one size up. I think it's the same. But anyway, it's huge. It feels big and heavy, so it's going to give us a bit of reassurance. And now he's going to get it on the boat and get the dinghy on the boat and the engine on the boat, and then we can go round to Teignmouth.
We loaded it on board and put it in the spare anchor hole that we've got at the front. The boat next to us had fouled their anchor, so it was reassuring to know that we had a spare should that happen to us. Then disaster struck. We raised our normal anchor and it smashed into the dolphin platform, as we call it. This is the platform on the bowsprit. It had smashed up 30-year-old teak, and we're not really sure how we're going to fix this yet. Dejectedly off to Teignmouth. We couldn't be bothered to unpack the dinghy, so with a dry bag in hand, we swam across. Tilly didn't fancy it, so our boat neighbour kindly rowed her across.
You're doing so super well. Let's go. Can't wait to go to the Mediterranean.
Let's go. Our original plan was to rush back to the Midlands tonight, as we have gigs tomorrow, but we were tired.
That's the whole point of this adventure, is if you feel tired and stressed that we've done something wrong. So we said, let's slow down and We're going to go tomorrow instead, and we're having a beach day. We've just been for a swim. We're going to find some Devon pasties, because we're still in Devon, not Cornwall. And then maybe go for another swim, and then just go and chill. Sound good?
Yeah.
Good.
Devon pasties. Eric wanted the Teignmouth beast.
I've always loved this type of Cornish pasty, and I didn't realise that this design, Cornish pasty, is actually a Devon pasty. This is what you learn when you come down here.
This is
What about the number at the start?
chili pork. It's delicious. Teignmouth is a funny little place, but I quite liked it. You can't swim on this beach, though.
And this place here gets our vote for the best fish and chips we've had so far, probably ever almost. It's very good.
Absolutely, it was delicious. The next day, we left the boat and headed for my dad's car. This isn't an official water taxi, but one of the kind harbour team gave us a lift ashore as we didn't want to leave the dinghy ashore for the weekend.
Because this big heavy one was constantly banging against my legs. So I thought if I spin, that's not a problem.
Strange going back one last time. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone. I'm looking forward to playing music again, and I'm sad that I'm not going to be playing music again for a long while with Calvin. But it's good to be doing it this weekend. This was it. We were returning to the Midlands for one final time for a whole year. This weekend was the last commitments that we had in our diaries before all ties are cut and the adventure can truly begin.